Welcome back, everybody, to our second episode of Fishman Feature. Thank you for joining us for our February episode. Really excited to introduce our next guest today. Before I do that, I do want to frame up really what we're doing here and why everybody is watching this today. For many of you all, you've known that Fishman PR, we like to think are leaders in the public relations space, specifically for franchise companies all over the world. Much of our job is really trying to help clients tell their story through the media's eyes. And we love to shed light on some of these fantastic ways that franchise brands are gaining an edge as it relates to their competitors and other folks that may be outside of franchising too. With this series, our entire goal with Fishman Feature was to really spotlight some of these awesome clients that we have that are really, using earned media to stay relevant, to educate their prospects and their consumers, all about the amazing things that they're doing to really help to drive franchise leads, consumer leads, and also to really stay ahead of the curve. So every month we're going to be doing these. And again, my name is Zack Fishman, and I'm going to be your host. And I'm really excited to be sitting down with our next guest today. He is the VP of Franchise Development from the newly formed company of WoWorks. I have Eric Lavinder on with us. Eric, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Zack.
Yeah, really excited for this. And I think that the timing is really great because obviously if we had done this a month and a half ago, it would have been Saladworks I would have been introducing you as, but now, and I know that you obviously have it on your shirt there, but we'll have to get the logo changed pretty soon, but there's some exciting news we'll talk about in a bit here, but I'm really excited because I think that you guys do something really well. And I know that this really correlated directly with when you came on board to Saladworks a couple of years ago. And that's really, using technology and using, innovative real estate strategies to think outside the box and develop franchises differently, right? I think that it's a trend that you guys have really started within your brand, and it's really caught fire with a couple of the awesome initiatives you guys are starting. So to really frame this up, before you came on board, how would you really describe Saladworks' franchise development focus, and what type of franchisees were they looking for, and did they favor traditional versus non-traditional? Talk a bit about what it was back then before you came aboard.
Absolutely. So when I first joined Saladworks, it was almost 3 years ago, and they really didn't have a huge growth story or growth strategy. They were really doing a fantastic job. AUVs were good. The salad niche was still a trending and popular opportunity, but they really weren't focused on the growth. They really didn't have what I call a wide funnel of opportunity. They had narrowed their search down so small, they really weren't attracting a lot of candidates. And what I mean by that is they wanted you to have the ability to finance a certain amount of money. You had to buy a 3-store deal. They really weren't looking at non-traditional. They really weren't looking at, ghost kitchens or vessels or any other, kind of non-traditional opportunity out there. And so when I got here, the first thing I realized was this is going to be a lot, not simpler, but a lot better than I thought, meaning that we can just change a couple of processes and give ourselves a much wider net to fish for opportunities. We can lower the threshold of financial requirements. We can lower the number of stores you have to purchase at one time. Well, I think all those things are good and necessary down the road. We were an under 100 store chain. We weren't a 1,000 store units. And so you need those single store franchisees. You need to grow out and build out your core market of Philadelphia and the greater New Jersey market. And so for us, it was going back and saying what made us successful before and how can we fix that going forward? So we changed the requirements for franchisees. We lowered the financial requirements, lowered the number of stores you had to purchase, and then also decided that you don't just have to have a specific person as the franchisee. Everyone talks about, I want a franchisee who has franchising experience. Well, somebody has to be the first that gives them the franchising experience to take a chance. Well, I want someone that has business experience. Well, I want someone who has this or has that. And so we decided, all those are good and nice to have. But what the most important, in our opinion, was the soft skills. Are you happy? Are you energetic? Do you like people? Can you smile? Are you motivated? All those things to me are very important because I can teach you to read a spreadsheet. I can teach you to read a P&L. I can teach you how to make a salad. And I can teach you a lot of those things. I can't teach you to be motivated. I can't teach you to be happy. And so that helps us a whole lot with finding somebody who has that with also business experience or franchising experience, or they're ready to leave their primary, executive level job and come do something else with a family member or as a future for their kids. And so it widens the funnel, gives us more opportunity to go after more people. And it really just gives us the chance to talk and sell our brand to more people.
Yeah, and I think that this it goes to show how different the vision of the department really became when you got there. I think it correlated with a lot of things. You got there before the new ownership that we know today. A lot of executives from focus brands like Roddy, of course, the CEO, and Mark, who I know that you work very closely with as well, and many other awesome people that came aboard. Probably about a year after you came to Saladworks, and I know that a lot of things changed, but overall, when you're thinking about some of the strategies you just mentioned, you know what were some of the ways that you helped to bring in those new people, right? I think that there's a lot of, technology that you guys started to do, your real estate strategy changed. Talk about some of the strategies that you prioritized when you first got there that you felt would help you to achieve to reach those people that you just spoke about.
Absolutely. So I think you want to widen the funnel, but how do you do that? You don't just do it by just PR, although PR has been fantastic. You don't do it by just lead generation. You don't do it by just social media, fran dev, marketing content. You have to do all of it. You have to really focus on 5 or 6 different strategies at the same time, but then you also have to automate and use technology. And that's where I think we made a huge difference from the way things are being done. If you have enough leads coming in, which is the good job, a good goal to have, how do you handle the lead flow? How do you keep up with the massive amount of people who are inquiring? Half the people aren't probably qualified. Another 25% probably aren't a good fit. So how do you narrow down all that and still do everything else that you're supposed to do? And you use that through technology. So getting a robust CRM, automating all of our systems and processes and forms, training the team that really wasn't here, that I had to bring on staff when I started, to really get them to understand it's all about time kills deals and time kills opportunities. And so we have to figure out how to focus on those. And so nothing necessarily groundbreaking, amazing that we're doing. It's really just taking all the different opportunities. You have the lead generation, you have the PR, you have the social mobile strategy, you have the shows and the conferences and going after people on different medium channels. And so it's really just doing what you do, but staying focused on doing it. I think people start somewhere and then they stop or they forget or they give up. In sales, you can't. You have to follow the entire process to get something accomplished. And that's what we've been focused on.
Yeah, and I think that, some of these strategies that you have, as you mentioned, some of it isn't new, but some of it, is just being more targeted and understanding what you're looking for. But I think in addition to that, you guys obviously did have some ace in the holes as well. There are some things that changed on the consumer side that I think really helped to aid you guys as it relates to franchise development. It gave you guys an awesome story to talk about. And I think it would be cool to cover that here because there's a couple initiatives that I really love that you guys did. There's a salad robot that you guys came out with, of course. There is, the store within a store that you've been doing a lot of work on. So talk a bit about how, those strategies have really helped you guys as it relates to franchise development growth and, how things like the technology you guys are coming out with and some of the new initiatives that Mark and Adam and the marketing team have helped to come up with, how have that really helped, the franchisees to actually be more successful, even in a pretty challenging year?
Absolutely. So as we all know, growth seeds growth. And my first focus was franchisee growth. And so I got that set up the way I wanted it. All the processes, all the systems, the advertising, everything I wanted to do was working really, really well. This is pre-COVID. And my background is actually more non-traditional sales than it is traditional sales. And so, but I was a franchisee, so I knew the traditional side, and my experience is the non-traditional side. I basically said, what else can we do? We're not in military bases. We're not in vessels. We're not in ghost kitchens. We're not doing this stuff and these new robots that I'm hearing a lot about. And so what I did is I basically assigned my team and we worked really hard to figure out where else can we go? We can only sell with so many franchises because obviously it was a challenge to sell franchises. And so we have to grow. Where else can we grow? The store within a store project had just kicked off. The robot project had just kicked off. The military we had just signed pre-COVID. And so it's like we didn't know what we didn't know, but it worked out really well for us. You think about COVID hitting, franchisees in general, sales are just down in general and across a lot of brands. But you've got this salad opportunity in a grocery store, and there's no more salad bars allowed. Well, we were already testing a kiosk salad bar in a grocery store. What a perfect segue from COVID to getting us into more grocery stores. Well, the robot, it's a self-made, self-contained robot that makes a salad in 70 seconds. What another perfect opportunity during COVID to be able to expand and grow that opportunity. And then you have the ghost kitchens, and you have the vessels, and you have all those other opportunities that kind of grown since COVID. And you have to be willing, we were willing to take a chance on trying new things. Not everything we did or going to do is going to be perfect and work out well, but you have to be willing to try new things, because if you want franchisees to grow and you want to give them more opportunities other than just a brick and mortar store, which is good, but you want to give them more options. And so our goal was, how do we figure out what else we can give our franchisees, test them corporately, and then make the systems and processes work, give them a roadmap and an ops manual, and let them help grow their business venture. Because our ultimate goal wasn't to be a big corporate company. We really want to be a franchising company, but we want to be a franchising company that has done the right things with the right way for our franchisees. And that means getting them involved, but also doing things first, putting our money into it and making sure that it works first. And so that was our focus all the way through before COVID. And then obviously when Mark and Adam and his team got here, I really had another boost in my opportunity. The other marketing side really wasn't focused on Fran Dev marketing. It was all about consumer marketing. Well, as you guys know, Mark is really involved in Fran Dev marketing with me and my help. And instead of us pulling and pushing different directions, which is what a lot of marketing and Fran Dev people do because they have a priority, we actually are working together. And so we meet with, whether it be Fishman PR or our other vendors of other projects we're working on, social campaigns, digital campaigns. How do we have it to fit both opportunities? Maybe it needs a slight tweak for Fran Dev, or maybe it needs a slight tweak for consumer marketing, but how do we utilize the same content, the same opportunity? Because everyone loves a good story. All the things that we did during COVID to help our franchisees or to give back to our community, that's all great Fran Dev opportunity content, because people want to be a part of something special. And that gives them a chance to. And so by having Mark on board and us kind of working together, it's been great that I kind of play off him and he plays off me, and we get a lot more PR and more bang for our buck than we probably would have if we had been operating in silos, going down our own path on our own somewhat selfish plan and path, but not really on purpose. It's kind of our department responsibilities. And so it's worked really, really well. So you take with that, the automation and the technology and my non-traditional experience, it's widening the funnel and figuring out how many places can we go, because if a franchisee sees success in other avenues, they're going to want to jump on board in many opportunities.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that there's one thing that I alluded to earlier, which I think will widen the funnel even more, and that is the ability to sell more than one brand, my friends. And I think that there is something to be said about that. You guys have obviously recently formed a new holding company, WoWorks, which I alluded to earlier, and you guys, recently just announced that you've acquired 2 new brands, Garbanzo Mediterranean Grill and Frutta Bowls. So, talking about that for a moment, with all the amazing things you guys have done for Saladworks since you really began your time there, how do you believe that that's going to benefit, what you guys are doing in terms of your mission? And then, what criteria are you guys using when you're looking for brands for potential franchise development, growth potential, right? Because these brands are in industries that are healthy, they're very up your alley. So talk a bit about that. And, what you're excited about, in terms of these 2 brands.
Absolutely. We are so excited to form the WoWworks holding company. Well, I think when Kelly got here, I think his first goal or initiative was, we're going to acquire. We're going to grow, but we're also going to grow through acquisition. We've got to find other brands that are similar to ours that we can utilize the assets of and grow. And we all determined that, healthy was a fantastic opportunity. I think when you look at the 3 brands we own, between salads and smoothies and bowls and the Mediterranean niche, they're all 3 such a healthy focus. And really, these 3 brands lack a national presence. If you think about their competitors, there's a lot of great competitors out there, but there's no national brand in these avenues or these niches. And for us, it was a way to expand our brand, give our leadership team and our staff a lot more opportunities to grow within a company. It was a way for us to give franchisees an opportunity to buy something else. Say you owned a Saladworks in New Jersey and really there's nowhere else to build. You could build a Garbanzos, or you could do a Frutta Bowls, or maybe we talk about doing a co-brand, or we take, something great from one brand and move it over. And so I think for us, it's been um, a challenge for the last 2 weeks of acquiring two brands in 2 weeks time during the holidays. We're still kind of figuring out everything out. But what we've seen and what we've learned and what we're going to do is going to be amazing. And I can't wait to be a part of it. It's going to be able to add so much more opportunity for our franchisees. It's going to give us a chance to grow the healthy brands, give us some co-branding opportunity, frankly, put us in places that we probably wouldn't have been able to get by only having one brand. I think a lot of national partners are looking for multi-tiered brands. And I think this is going to put us on a different level for sure going forward.
I completely agree, and I was excited to see that you guys were growing through acquisition, and I think that many would agree. And I know that we joked about this, but when Kelly came on, you guys all kind of looked at him like he had three heads when he said it. But I think that now that we're at this point where you know, you guys are really at the precipice of something really big. So I'm excited to see where it goes, and I think kind of stemming off of that to tie everything together here. I think it's pretty clear to everybody watching that a lot of the strategies you guys have are not only fantastic, and they've really done a lot of great work for the brand since you began to implement them, but they're pretty newsworthy too, of course. And I think that what I want to know is that in your view, how have you guys actually used PR to discuss some of these initiatives, and how do you guys really feel like it's helped to light a fire under the franchise development efforts you guys are going after?
I think a lot of things that franchisors do is good stuff. For example, lead campaigns and meeting with the media and doing conferences and speaking at trade shows. It all helps to get your brand out there. It all helps to tell your story. I think what we've done really well this year, and I give a lot of credit to Mark and his team, is we've not only told our story, but we've also related it to how we're helping our community, how we're helping people, why our brand's so important, why we have such a passion for what we do, whether it be serving healthy food or giving back to our community, or just being great people and having the ability to be tolerant and working with each other in different forms and fashions. And so I think all the initiatives we did this year, from the Fives for Lives, for the No Kid Hungry, to all the things we've worked on, really helps us to showcase what we're all about. Listen, we all know you have to make money in franchising. That's an inherent given, but it doesn't have to be everything. You can do a lot more than just make money in owning a business or running a franchise or a brand. And so that's been our real focus this year. COVID and all the things that have gone on this last year have been quite challenging. And for us, it was focusing on our franchisees, focusing on giving back to our community, and focusing on really doing the right thing. And how that relates to PR is that's real time information. It's not just a news story, or it's not just a lead campaign or a drip campaign or something you tell somebody. It's real. We're giving back. There's fantastic PR stories that we worked with your firm on, and doing giving back and delivering food to healthcare workers and all these things that we've done. It's important. And so I think Fishman and PR plays a very vital role in that, because it gives us a third or fourth avenue channel. Yes, I can use it for drip campaigns. Yes, we can post it on LinkedIn. And yes, we can use it for newsworthy stories. But I think people that are interested in a brand want more than just the brand. They want to know what you're about. What's your culture? What do you like? Well, what better way to illustrate what you're really about is showing your true actions, and your true actions showcase through what PR and what our actual lives consist of on a daily basis. And so I think tying that all together has been really awesome, because I couldn't have come up with all these ideas, or Mark either. Our franchisees, our executive team, our staff have been able to come up with some absolutely outstanding opportunities for us to give us PR stories. We talk a lot about, what do we talk about now, or what should we talk about now, or how do we talk about Saladworks without talking about Saladworks, or how do we talk about this and that. And so it gives us an opportunity to really just, like this segment, for example, giving back without having to sell your brand the whole time. And I think that's another great story we've been able to do this year.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And we obviously really appreciate the partnership that you guys have had with us. And I think that you guys are one of the best examples that I often find. And I know that I'm slightly biased, but I think that there is a certain element of truth to this. I do interview many people in my other 12 day jobs, of course. And I think that I often find that you guys do an incredibly great job of really talking to people without actually screaming from the mountaintops that you're from Saladworks. And I think that that's a really unique skill to have in franchising, and it's something that I've always really loved about the brand and what you and Mark and Adam and Kelly and the team are really trying to accomplish. So we really appreciate you kind of sharing your story and how you guys have used technology and community to really, to really get, I guess, really put yourselves onto the next level. You guys are now a holding company. You guys are, so many amazing things that are happening. So I'm really excited to see, the growth in WoWorks, and we appreciate you allowing us to be in the backseat of the car with you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate everything you've done for us as well.
Thank you. Thank you. So folks, thanks again for for joining us again today for our second episode of Fishman Feature. Stay tuned for our next episode. We are going to be following up with another great guest for the month of March. Until then, folks, stay safe.